I'd like now to invite Cheryl for a view from the private sector. I mean, we talked about an environment, an inclusive environment, all the processes in place. I mean, what's your view from a private sector? And what can the private sector do?
I heard a gentleman here, very senior gentleman, very experienced. They've seen the likes of many. And I suppose they have different experience from a different point of view. So I come over from a different lens, from a private sector lens. I've been a career for almost 30 years in the private sector. I've been mainly in professional firms. I've been in and out of corporate. I will tell you that I've seen many things that at times I felt it was not right. Again, this is what I've seen personally as a professional. And I was thinking, as they were sharing, I was thinking, what's that catalyst? What's the missing link in terms of what has been going on for the past 30 years or even longer than that? What is it that we didn't get right? Okay? I'm sure all of you, I mean, kudos to all of you and congratulations to C4 for doing this. I was thinking whether I should be here, should I not be here, but I think all of us have a say in terms of where the country should be. And kudos to all of you for being in this room, but I think we are just a fraction of the population of Malaysia. I would say that. So we have a duty to do what's needed going out. Now, at least in professional firms, I just share with you how professional firms are. We are in a very delicate situation sometimes. Because, for example, just say Dato' says, okay, I want to sell my assets. And Prof says, okay, I'll buy your assets. And there's probably a deal going on between the two of them. And probably wives, sons, daughters involved and the whole conspiracy, right?
Should I be concerned?
No. They engage. You see, one thing about what you have seen happening with Scorpion, with Kunan and all that is they understand the system perfectly. Even Jola, right? He's a smart guy. And they know the system. They know the rules. They know how to hide things or make it legal even, right? So I would say that the system that we have, whether governmental, political, or even commercial, is not foolproof. It's not. And whenever we try to tackle a certain problem, say elections, or certain problems, say the rotating door, it's just the tip of the iceberg. It has to be holistic. Everyone has to work towards that vision. And I think that was the missing link. I mean, Cynthia was loud enough during Najib's time to voice out and whistle blow, right? And she had to whistle blow to France, for God's sake. Not even Malaysia. And the French listened to her, I can't believe that, right? But the fact that there was a reaction goes to show that it can work. It can work. So I think the amendments that we need to do, and I suppose with the current government, they probably need to listen to the many voices and look at it holistically. You cannot just tackle one issue and then expect the whole thing to be solved. It is a series of things that you have to do. So in professional firms, we are governed by quite a number of ethical and code of conduct processes or policies that we really need to adhere to, because one thing about professional firms is that integrity and brand is of the utmost importance, because that's where the trust. You trust us to do something and we do it, validate it, and no questions after. So how do we then protect that, safeguard that? Okay? So over the many years that you know how professional firms have evolved, even from those days was 16, and then it was Big 8, and then you went on to Big 4. There was an evolution of it. And now the question is about the monopoly of Big 4s. If you read the UK reports, it's about whether our independence are impaired. And I think that's a very valid question, right? So a couple of things just to share. So I think the system and the processes, the policies are there. I think Dato was saying is to prevent. So it's a preventive measure to make sure that there is a rule to catch someone if they do something wrong. Now the problem is, what if that someone was not caught? Okay? When I say caught, I mean you see it under your eyes. I mean, you see it happening day to day sometimes. I mean, there's so many, we are all employees somehow of commercial, of businesses. We need to earn a living. Sometimes we see it in our it goes through under our noses, but we say nothing. We say nothing. Because why? We are not obliged to say anything. And the other factor is the fact that we are earning an income. I'm just getting back to really, like, real root cause, real ground pragmatics issues that we have. So then, the question is, I think like what Dato was saying is, in Petronas, for example, the tone from the top is vital. The boss have to say the right thing, walk the talk. The problem is, in the past, the boss seemed to be walking the talk, but didn't walk the talk really. And we knew that. So tone from the top, I think, is vital for that magic formula. It has to come from the top. And the other thing is culture. We forget that soft element of it. And you know, Asian culture, we're very forgiving. You know, if my husband says he's coming back now, sometimes I know about friends where the husband says, I've got another wife, another girlfriend, forgive, and then I can live together in one house, whatever it is. Even our Asian culture is so forgiving and is so accepting at times. I think over the years we realized that culture drives certain behaviors. Okay? So from a private sector perspective, I think we need to really focus on that, which we have always neglected. We always thought, put in processes, put in controls, and we are good. The thing will work. But you need a person to drive a car. You can have you can have a Ferrari, but if you don't drive it right, it doesn't work. Okay? And last but not least is probably the monitoring and the testing. Like it or not, we are all humans, like what Dato mentioned. We will fall, we will fail, we are not perfect. So you need to have a mechanism to not just prevent, but to detect. My personal opinion, I find from a government perspective, and even commercial perspective, the detection is not strong enough. They have an avenue to say what they need to say, but they do not live up to that purpose, if you ask me. Yeah? So we've got MACC who's in a way doing that role, but in the past MACC was really powerless. Only recently they have been, in a way, empowered to do what they need to do. And I think the detective portion, and I think Cynthia is probably looking into this area in terms of how do we then make sure that we catch and we voice out. Sometimes we catch but we don't voice out. Or we don't escalate, we don't report. The transparency is not there. And there's always so many nuances around it. So many nuances. I've known banks who have lost millions of dollars because the CEO has circumvented the process. This was escalated to our central bank and no action was taken. How do you consciously even accept that? What's our avenue? So I think when we look at reforms, we have to look at reforms at every level, every portions of our country, whether it's social, economic, or even political. Yeah, so I think that's where I feel that we should have that magic formula. Thank you.